On September 17, 2025, what started as a routine traffic stop in rural Arkansas quickly turned into a tense and confusing encounter involving multiple law enforcement agencies. In Jefferson County, Constable William Hamilton claimed he observed a driver speeding through his township near the small town of Sherrill. According to Hamilton, the driver was traveling nearly 50 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. Believing a violation had occurred, Hamilton attempted to initiate a traffic stop. But there was a problem. Hamilton was not wearing a police uniform, and he was driving an older pickup truck, not a clearly marked patrol vehicle. For the 25-year-old driver, the situation immediately felt suspicious. Unsure if the man behind her was actually a police officer, or someone pretending to be one, she made a decision many safety experts recommend. She did not immediately pull over. Instead, she turned on her hazard lights, called 911, and continued driving toward a well-lit, populated area where she could safely stop. The driver eventually pulled into the parking lot of a Dollar General store in the nearby town of England. But by that point, the situation had already escalated. The location where she stopped was outside of Hamilton's jurisdiction, and local officers from the England Police Department quickly arrived on scene. What they encountered was a chaotic situation. Hamilton, clearly frustrated, insisted that the driver had fled from him and run a stop sign during the pursuit. But the driver told a very different story. She explained that she was afraid. The man attempting to stop her wasn't in uniform. His vehicle didn't look like a police car. And from her perspective, there was no clear way to confirm his identity. Even the responding officers admitted something important. If they had been in the driver's position, they might have hesitated to pull over as well. Under Arkansas law, Hamilton's role as a constable gave him limited law enforcement authority within his township. Constables are elected officials who serve as local peace officers, and they do have the power to detain or cite individuals for violations that occur within their jurisdiction. However, that authority comes with clear rules. State law requires constables performing official duties to wear a proper uniform with identifying patches and to operate vehicles that are clearly marked as law enforcement. Hamilton was doing neither. Instead, he was wearing a dirty t-shirt and jeans, with no visible identifiers that would make it obvious he was a law enforcement officer. While his truck did contain emergency lights and small markings, they were not easily recognizable, especially to someone being stopped unexpectedly on a rural road. Still, legally speaking, Hamilton may have had some authority to continue the stop. Arkansas recognizes something called the fresh pursuit doctrine, which allows officers who observe a violation in their jurisdiction to pursue a suspect beyond territorial boundaries, as long as the pursuit is continuous and immediate. But even if the law technically allowed the stop, when officers fail to clearly identify themselves, especially in situations where impersonation is a known risk, it can create fear, confusion, and unnecessary conflict. In this case, the responding officers focused on calm communication and de-escalation, preventing the encounter from spiraling further out of control. And the driver's decision to call 911 and stop in a populated area demonstrated a careful balance between personal safety and cooperation with law enforcement. A situation that could have become far more dangerous, instead ended with everyone walking away safely. The responding officers were far more concerned about de-escalating the situation. They quickly took control of the scene, asking Hamilton to step back while they verified his identity through dispatch. The driver remained calm and cooperative, explaining exactly what had happened and why she chose to call 911 instead of pulling over immediately. The officers reassured her that she was not going to jail, and that the worst possible outcome would be a citation that could later be challenged in court. Eventually, the situation cooled down. Hamilton was told he could issue a citation only for violations that allegedly occurred inside his own township. After gathering information from everyone involved, the officers allowed the driver to leave the scene. But the story didn't end there. Following public criticism over the incident, Constable William Hamilton submitted a resignation letter to the Jefferson County judge just days later, stating that he would retire at the end of the year. The final outcome of the citation issued to the driver remains unknown. What is clear, however, is that the incident highlights an important reality. Traffic stops rely on clarity, professionalism, and trust.